All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to jeemanTV. Today we have Marc-Antoine Cuerrier, who's going to be with us today, and we're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about how he got there, how he built his own business with a partner. Welcome, Marc-Antoine.
Well, thank you.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. I think we have to tell the audience that.
What did we do this morning at
this morning?
5:45?
So we woke up at 5. And we met up at CrossFit Authentic for a 5:45 workout, which was a lot harder than I thought a holiday in the middle of a holiday workout would be.
Yeah, we're basically December
27th.
27? Yeah. So that was rough.
It was rough. It
did not go well for me.
No.
So let's jump right in. So can you tell me a little bit about, so there's a business that you started with a partner called True North Labor.
That's right.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about that business?
Yeah, of course. So basically it was in a moment in my life where I was transitioning from the film and television industry, that's where we met each other. And I was transitioning to construction. So I had my PMP, lining up for project management work. So I started working on a construction site. And I met Alex Nuhiev on a construction site in Vancouver. And we struck up a friendship, started talking about, he was telling me about this business that he had in Alberta, which was a staffing agency specialized in ICI construction, very skilled labor. And that was interesting and all. And then he asked me if I could do a feasibility study for him. So, fresh out of business school, I was like, yeah, sure, I can do all this. Started putting some numbers together and wow, it made a lot of sense. And then, so we decided to, full steam ahead.
And what was the business?
It was a staffing agency, a temporary employment agency for skilled labor. So there's a very similar model that exists for unskilled labor, which is very popular in construction and manufacturing. But the skilled side was relatively new, skilled and trained as well, which was refreshing for the industry at the time because there's a lot going on in construction. And like a lot of businesses, often labor is one of the difficulties or one of the hurdles that businesses have. And we were addressing that directly. Yeah. So I thought that was, and it was pretty successful.
Yeah. And so how long did it take to build?
That's a good question. So I treated the whole thing as a project.
Yeah.
And then I gave myself 2 years in order to build the business to a point where all of our systems and everything were running smoothly. And then after 2 years, the startup phase would be done. And then we'd be able to focus on the scaling or the growth phase of it. And we came, that project delivered essentially a year and a half in, so 6 months earlier than, and our liquidity 101, or we started making profit pretty early on in the business as well, which was not expected.
No.
Yeah, okay. No, there was a really tremendous response from the industry to the service. People really,
they needed that.
They needed it, and they believed in it as well. And we got a lot of help as well from the industry.
Yeah, because it kind of changed the system down there in Vancouver.
It did. It was disrupting. It was disruptive a little bit. Yeah.
Which some business you need to do to get ahead.
Yeah. It seems to be like a bit of a tendency.
It's a little bit like Uber.
Yeah.
Disrupted the whole taxi service industry.
I don't think we had that big of an impact, but yeah, it's essentially shared services in a way.
Same idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you started that business with somebody else, and so what fueled you to keep pushing through, right? Was it the interest in construction, or was it just business in general?
It's a good question.
What pushed you?
It's a good question. It's funny that you asked me this, because yesterday I had a similar conversation with my father and my brother.
I think it be easy, right?
No, it's definitely not easy. And I think what pushed me a lot at that time, this was my second business. You remember the first one? I
remember.
Sky 6, yeah. So as a second business, and Sky 6, as much as we had some successes, as a whole, Sky Six was a failure. Sold all the equipment at a loss. It was a learning curve, right? So I had almost like an incentive. I had to win this one. I had to like push myself, and not only that, there was a lot of money riding on that. We had investors that invested, over $100,000 at the very beginning of the project. So I was like, I can't lose this money, and I had things to prove to myself and to other people, and almost like to resume, or not to resume, but in a way, there was an unhealthy motivation behind it. The motivation was like win at all costs, push myself. There's a lot of, I wouldn't say mental illness, but not understanding and not being in touch with myself and not understanding enough like the world around me. And I was pushing myself, and I was trying to prove things to people. I was trying to live up to unhealthy expectations and things like that, which like now I'm at a point in my life where I've done enough personal work to know that that shit's not healthy, and that shouldn't be the motivation. But at the time, that was the motivation. And surprisingly, it worked really well, right? Because I was just like pushing and pushing, 16, 17-hour days, 7 days a week, nonstop.
Because I guess business can be unhealthy sometimes, because you're starting a business and you're putting.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Yeah.
So what's the trick now? What have you learned from running some businesses, and today, like, what do you put first? Like we went to CrossFit this morning. Yeah. You put health
first,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Health has to come first, because one thing I learned through this business is you can't pour from an empty cup, right? There's nothing in your cup. You can't fill anybody else's cup. And that's very much what business is. You're growing not only a business, you're growing the people around you to hit a certain level, right?
You're also trying to grow a community, which is part of your business. Absolutely. Which comes all part of it, right?
You can't like, we were talking about this morning at breakfast, creating good content and being very present on social media. You can't do that if you're not in a great state of mind, in a good state of mind, if you're not okay with yourself. It's going to reflect on all this content that you're creating.
So let's talk about failure. You talked about failure about Sky Six. So do you feel that failure is a good thing, and did that help you create a better life after, better business after, right?
Absolutely. So like one of my main failures in Sky Six was not having done enough preparation work before launching the business, and most importantly, before investing large amounts of money on the business, right? So my mistake was not doing proper market research. So right away, before going to proper market research, we went in, hired a designer, designed arguably one of the best cable cams in North America. And it was complex, it was complicated, it was heavy equipment, like it required a large team. It was a beautiful machine, it was gorgeous, it worked really well. And then we had this like amazing product, and then we started calling around, like the sales part of the business. And I remember so many, producers or directors were like, wow, what an amazing thing, but we don't need it though. There's no room for it. There's no room for it in my budget. And it adds value to the production, but I have no need for it on this production. So then we ended up with this like amazing piece of equipment. Nobody wants it. We ran out of runway, ran out of capital. Yeah. And that's when we had to like.
It was a good way to learn. It was a good learning.
Oh, yeah.
So that failure.
So the next businesses, was like, okay, do people need this? Is this going to sell? Yeah. Is there a demand for this? Yes. Okay, let's do it. Hence the whole feasibility study. I went in deep, man. I went in like I researched the market, my competitors, the need in the market, and it turned out pretty good. So. And I think it was also niche to Vancouver. Vancouver had this need at that time.
Yeah, construction is huge in Vancouver.
It's gigantic. It's just exploding.
Yeah. So the key thing is to prep before going into a business, to really research and know your stuff.
But at the same time, don't stay stuck on start.
Yeah.
Right?
You have to
Don't
go.
prep and prep and prep and look and look and look and do nothing, right?
You got to do something.
Yeah, exactly. You got to do
just
something.
got to go.
And like, especially now with like, this new business I'm starting, online business, there's a lot. I mean, things are going so fast there that, yeah, of course I did some market research, but when it comes down to like the business planning, a lot of it is being done organically as I'm learning and as I'm doing in the business, as I'm growing, that business, then I'm also growing the business plan. It's
so what
it's
are
very
you
like
doing?
a lean methodology.
Yeah.
I guess.
So what are you doing right now? What's your plan for the future? Where are you going?
Well, so the next business is a bit more of a passive income business.
Okay.
So it's a fulfillment by Amazon business, and obviously I'm like mixing a little bit of passion in there. My passion for CrossFit and the health and fitness industry. So kind of leaning in there and building a athletic brand.
Yeah. So if you have like an advice for people when like they're starting their business right now, what would you tell someone? Okay, they're starting their business. What do you tell them? Where do they start? How should they go about starting a business?
That's a good question.
What's the most important thing before you start a business? What's the most important thing for you?
Well, it's when you research this whole thing about entrepreneurialism, often you'll find these pages, where it's going to give you like a 1-page quiz and a few questions to answer, and then it'll eventually tell you like, are you cut out for this? Are you cut out for being an entrepreneur? I don't know how accurate those things are. Sometimes they feel like they're just trying to like scare you straight. Like, you sure you want to do this? I'm not 100% sure if I would, listen to the outcome of that or the result of those tests. Could be a good thing to do because maybe it'll instigate you to think about some part of the business that you haven't necessarily thought of, and then it can take away some of the motivation and some of the desire. But at the same time, that's kind of like also the problem is it can like discourage you from doing something that you're really like pumped to do.
Yeah, and everybody can learn.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. None of this is rocket science, like you'll learn along the way. There's a lot of stuff that you'll learn, and often too, like you'll find a certain motivation. But then again, there are some people that are just not cut out for it. But I also don't think that these people necessarily look in to starting businesses, or maybe they have fantasies of doing it, but they don't follow through with it. But somebody who's like, if you've already started following through with it and started doing research and started putting some energy in there, I think you're already showing big signs that you're an entrepreneur, and follow your dreams and do it. And it's okay to fail. Like most businesses.
Yeah, I feel like they'll have in their DNA the entrepreneur side. Some people don't, but it doesn't mean that they can't.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're not an entrepreneur.
They can't do it, right? And sometimes, like for me, like I lost my job, but they cut my position as a videographer, and basically that's when I was 31, 32. I was 32, and then basically I jumped into it. Right, it was always in the back of my mind, but I never did it, and now I'm super happy.
But you have an important quality of an entrepreneur is that you try to add value to the things that you do, right? Which is something that's really important for an entrepreneur, right? You get to add value to something so that people need or want or want to purchase or need that service. By adding value to it, by creating very high quality stuff, right? That was already in you before you decided to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's an important quality that made the transition probably much easier, right? It was
for sure,
effortless.
100%. Yeah, it was. As soon as I had you were helping me, Chris Chironi, who's going to be on the show on the day, was helping me, and I really had everybody just kind of showing me what to do because I had no idea. No idea. I was like, I got to do these finances, this plan. I got to do a plan. What? And then what is it called? There's a thing you made me fill out. It's not a business plan. It's the other thing there. Really
market research.
No. It's We'll find the word later. Okay.
But that brings me to I think it's Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar?
I forgot who said it, but every road leads to Rome. So eventually you would have made it there.
Yeah.
But if you have a map, you'll get there a lot quicker with a lot less effort, right?
Mm-hmm.
So asking people who have done it before, what they did, you know, like what they tried that didn't work and whatnot, it'll get you there a little bit faster. Much faster.
For sure.
With a lot less effort. Because learning from your own mistakes sometimes can be catastrophe, like a catastrophe, you know? It can be that thing that sinks the whole project.
Yeah.
You know?
So just quickly, I think we're going to keep it to a 20-minute mark, but social media. Let's just talk social media. What do you think about social media?
Well,
you know, what's your favorite channel? Do you have one?
Yeah, I think Instagram. I just like how imagery can be so powerful and influencing.
Yeah, one picture can be really
is 1,000 words, right? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Instagram would probably be my favorite one. You know, I've kind of moved away a little bit from Facebook. You see there's less stuff happening on Facebook, and then there's like the traditional website kind of is coming back.
I mean, they own Instagram, so
yeah.
You know,
they're not hurting. They're not hurting.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still giving them as much money, but instead of like Facebook ads,
you're going Instagram ads, stuff like that. Yeah. Cool. Anything you want to add before we finish?
No, I think
we're good.
This is a pretty cool project you've got going on here.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be nice. Yeah. I hope you guys like it.
I hope you'll have me back on the show.
We'll have him back as soon as your business is like your new business.
Valhalla Athletics.
All right, Marc-Antoine, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Now make sure you guys check out Valhalla Athletics and think G-Man. We'll see you next time.